629-3223. Get a 100% free quote from Shamrock Security. 629-3223.
On Thursday the 11th at 10:50, join us when our guests will be Mian Park, MD, MAS, Director of the UCSF Polycystic Kidney Disease Center. You will hear about a rare kidney disease that could be hiding in your genes, the role your genes play in your health, and when to see your doctor, and more vital information from WOCA America Pharmaceutical Incorporated and your friends here at WOCA The Source. Discover the fun at Discovery Center. Explore the new exhibit, Chain Reaction Charlie, where you'll design, tinker, and invent new machines. They offer classes, summer camps, and special events like date night, making it fun for everyone. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information, visit www.mydiscoverycenter.org or call 352-401-3900.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings each month at 9:05 a.m., Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest as we learn all about the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available at Ocala's premier adult active community, On Top of the World. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chats. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Help prevent the spread of germs. Wash your hands with soap and hot water for at least 20 seconds and always wash before you touch your face, eat, or drink. Use hand sanitizers. Limit sharing of eating utensils. Practice social distancing and avoid physical contact. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or the inside of your elbow. Avoid contact with ill individuals. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. Download the free booklet at Scientology.org/stay well.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Wednesday. You know, we're in the middle of a COVID pandemic, and it's magnified the health disparities faced by the African-American community, in particular, the sickle cell disease community. Now, if you're not familiar with sickle cell is a devastating inherited blood disorder that occurs in 1 out of every 365 African-American births. It impacts more than 100,000 people in the U.S., and the community has been severely impacted by the pandemic. Joining us on the phone now is Lakeisha Dickerson. She is a sickle cell disease patient, and Dr. Andemariam to talk about sickle cell disease and the impact that the pandemic's had on it. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Dr. Andemariam, can you share how sickle cell has historically impacted the black community and how COVID-19 has intensified those health disparities?
Absolutely. So just like you said, sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder. It's not something you catch. It's something you're born with. And it does disproportionately affect people of African descent. So that's black and brown people in our country. Sickle cell disease really impacts the daily life of those who have it. And that's primarily because of the severe bodily pain that they experience intermittently. It can land them in the emergency department. It can cost them a hospital stay. They can miss work, they can miss school, they can miss holidays, they can miss weddings, graduations, you name it. And there's also a lot of stigma associated with having it. It's quite possible that you know somebody with sickle cell disease, but they just haven't disclosed it to you. And because of a lack of interest in the disease, we've only had one drug approved to treat it up until very recently. But in the last few years, we've gotten 3 new FDA-approved drugs that make my job a lot easier. Now, quickly moving to the COVID-19 pandemic, it has really heightened the health disparities among those with sickle cell disease, because the science has shown us that they are at an increased risk for severe illness if they get COVID-19 infection. And at a baseline, individuals with sickle cell require frequent contact with the health system to help them deal with their disease. And that's been a challenge. If they have telemedicine capabilities, that's great. But a lot of patients simply haven't had that as an option. So the pandemic has posed additional and unique challenges for them.
You know, I grew up in the Atlanta area, and one of my good friends, Quincy Banks, his brother Chris Banks, who was 2 years older than us, but he was about 5'7", 5'8", very frail, 120 pounds, and he was thought to be a special needs child, and they actually put him in special needs classes when the only thing wrong with the child was he had sickle cell. And so he actually got put in special needs classes because of his eating issues and everything with sickle cell. And he was a normal kid. We played. We did the normal things. He would tire out easier than us. But we didn't realize that it was an issue until the school made it an issue. Lakeisha, can you share how this disease has affected you and the way people treat you and the way that you've come through the pandemic with this disease?
Yes, definitely. Growing up, I always felt like my mom and my dad strived to make me feel like a normal child. Anything that they said I couldn't do, I would do it. I did dancing lessons, I did swimming, I played in the marching band, I did color guard. No, I definitely tired out easily, and I would always find myself explaining to my peers, I'm not lazy. I have sickle cell. No, you guys can't catch it. It's something you're born with, and it makes me tire out easily. So it was different growing up because all I wanted to do was be a normal child, but I couldn't because of my limitations. And I did my best, and my parents did my best to integrate that. Now, moving to the pandemic, I've just had a lot of anxiety since the pandemic started. But I have been making an extra effort to treat my body right, be kind, hydrate, and do everything in my power to adhere to my treatments and prevent myself from having a acute episode and going to the hospital.
Now, you're also a nurse, so you not only do you have sickle cell disease, but you're also a nurse, so you're dealing with people who are sick in different issues. Now, I'm to understand you've had the vaccine already. Is that true?
Yes, that is correct. I got my second dose about 2 weeks ago.
Now, I know for a fact, I grew up in an area of Jacksonville, Florida, that we were brown, white, yellow. We didn't understand race color. The only color we knew was green because none of us had any of it because we were all broke. And so we didn't have any color barriers. But I know for a fact that a lot of my friends that I've grown up with that are now adults and parents and grandparents now, as we're in our 50s, in the African-American community that are a little leery of vaccines. They're not very trusting of vaccines. So what was it that made you trust this vaccine and openly say, yeah, I took it and I got my second one and I'm very happy with it?
So I myself had a few reservations prior to taking the vaccine, but I did the research and I realized that this was what's best for my family. The benefits outweighed the risk. The research shows that the vaccine is 95% effective. I would rather have the vaccine than COVID-19 and sickle cell disease. Also, both of my parents received the vaccine as well, but we did the research and we followed the science.
We're talking with Lakeisha Dickerson, a sickle cell patient and disease patient and a nurse. Of course, we're also talking to Dr. Andemariam. Dr. Andemariam, what would you tell people to garner some trust in the medical community and in the vaccine? What would you tell people of the African-American community to garner that trust and instill some trust in the need for the vaccine?
Well, I think, first of all, we need to acknowledge that we can't forget history and the history that led the Black community to have this distrust. And, things like the Tuskegee experiment, the Henrietta Lacks story. These are important lessons, but we've learned from them and we have to move forward. Education is critical. Getting the facts, like Lakeisha said, is critical. And I can tell you, after 20 years in medicine, that medicine remains a profession that ultimately does want to help people. And the efficacy of both of the vaccines currently available is really high, 95%. So if you get the vaccine, more likely than not, it is going to work to protect you and to protect your loved ones and to protect that person that you pass by in the grocery store. So I would say roll up your sleeve and do your part.
Lakeisha, as a sickle cell disease patient, you're also a nurse. If there are people out there that have the disease and they're feeling a little uneasy about how to best manage it through this pandemic and all, what's some advice you can give them because you've walked a mile in their shoes?
My biggest advice is do not ignore your body. Around March of last year, when everything started happening with COVID-19, I did have, like I said, I had a lot of anxiety. So I felt uneasy about going into the doctor's office, even though I worked in one. How crazy is that? So I did schedule my appointments via televisit. My first couple of appointments after the pandemic were televisit before I actually went into the office. But I say to anyone, make sure you take care of yourself, hydrate, manage your pain as best you can at home. Make sure you keep your provider's visits, because taking care of yourself now, these little efforts can make a big difference in the long run.
You know, we've talked about it numerous times on this show. If you got to find the silver lining in every bad situation. And I think the silver lining that is going to last for a long time out of COVID-19 is telemedicine. I think that there's a real large group of people. I'm taking advantage of telemedicine right now. Dr. Andemariam, real quick, how can our listeners learn more about how to manage sickle cell disease if they have it or if loved ones have it? Some pointers where they can go to get pointers on how to deal with it much better.
So there are two great websites, sicklecellspeaks.com and sicklecelldisease.org.
Sicklecellspeaks.com and
sicklecelldisease.org.
Disease.org. Lakeisha Dickerson, Dr. Andemariam, thanks so much for taking time out today to talk to us about something that is a very serious disease, but is one that's manageable if it's understood. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for.
That was Lakeisha Dickerson and Dr. Andemariam talking about sickle cell disease. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll try to see if we can keep Joe from having those, what do you call those? Those wonderful one-liners he had. Is that what they were? Wonderful one-liners? Is that what we're going with? I think that's what we're going with. They were wonderful one-liners. See if we can keep you from doing that. Plus, we'll give you some more volunteer opportunities right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene and Debbie thank you for another successful year and to wish you and yours a year ahead full of health, faith, and compassion. In addition to our pasture mowing, we also offer fence line spraying for weed control and rototilling for your winter gardens. We are family owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm ready. Powell Gene, Gene at yahoo.com. 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Love is in the air because it's Valentine's week, and that means everything's coming up roses